Well, one question I have for you is a lot of people are excited about this conversation of financial independence. They get excited about what it is all about, but they get a little deflated as of late with inflation and the rising costs of home ownership. Home ownership's a big goal for a lot of people, but it seems to be escaping the grasps of a lot of Americans out there. What's your view on home ownership and just the general rising cost as it relates to a FI lifestyle?
Well, first of all, let me address inflation,
Yeah,
and then we'll talk about home ownership.
sure.
Ben Carlson, who writes A Wealth of Common Sense and is a wonderful commentator, just did a post or an article on how stocks perform in times of high inflation. And the truth is, they perform very well. It takes a little bit of time for them to catch up, but they perform very well. So for people on the simple path to wealth, which by definition means that you are saving and investing primarily, if you follow my path, in the stock market, inflation actually is going to work out pretty well for you. The people that have a problem with inflation tend to be people who don't save, who are middle class and don't save, or who are poor. Those are the people who really get hit hard by inflation. And that's something to think about when you listen to your various politicians talk about spending and that sort of thing. But just a little sidebar on that. But if you're investing, and you're investing in stocks in particular, inflation, unless it really becomes, a runaway kind of thing, but sort of inflation that we've had in this country is not going to hurt you. As for home ownership, I have a reputation of being very anti-house. I mean, that comes when you write a post called "Why Your House is a Terrible Investment." So I guess that comes with the territory. But the truth is, I'm not anti-house. I've owned a house most of my adult life. But I'm anti the drumbeat that houses are an investment, let alone a good investment. Houses are a lifestyle choice. They are an expensive indulgence. And if one of your main goals is to build financial independence, to build wealth, houses tend to get in the way of that because people tend to buy too much house. And then there are a lot of ancillary expenses with houses, from taxes and repairs to almost the inevitable remodeling people do, and the furnishing and all of this kind of thing. So my advice when it comes to houses is, don't buy one unless you absolutely need it, and then buy the least house that you need. That is to say, the most affordable house, so you keep your housing expenses down. Now, I have nothing against expensive indulgences. And as I say, I've owned houses most of my adult life. I have a beautiful cottage on the lake here, but it's not an investment. It's an indulgence, and it's one that I can easily afford. And that's the other point I'll make, is that you should buy anything, but especially large ticket items like cars and houses, from a position of financial strength. Where people get in trouble is where they stretch to buy something because they think they have to impress someone, or for whatever reason. And if you're stretching to buy that house, you're going to be what's called house poor. If you're stretching to buy that car, you're going to have a huge car payment. And those things get in the way of being financially independent. So being financially independent is a goal. You want to tread very carefully with that kind of purchase.